In our previous video, we saw how Portuguese who came to India as humble traders quickly transformed themselves into aggressive naval power in the Indian Ocean region. We covered till 1503 in last video. In next two videos, we shall cover from 1503 to 1600. This period is dominated by Portuguese in the beginning of the century. Later, Dutch and English will appear on the scene. Remember, we are studying modern history. During this period, Vijayanagara and Mughal era was going on the Indian subcontinent. That belongs to medieval history. We shall see Portuguese, Dutch, French briefly and then proceed from 1857 in detail. Let's continue from where we left off. After Vasco da Gama's departure in 1503, the Portuguese quickly moved to secure their foothold in India by establishing Fort Emmanuel in Cochin. It was their first major fort, whereas earlier they had only set up fortified trading posts. This fort became a vital stronghold, protecting their trade interests and serving as a key defensive position. In 1505, the Portuguese crown appointed Francisco de Almeida as the first viceroy of Portuguese India. Almeida, a seasoned naval commander, was tasked with solidifying Portuguese control over the Indian Ocean. He focused on protecting the sea routes essential for the spice trade, which was the lifeline of Portugal's economy. From 1505 to 1508, tensions were brewing in the Indian Ocean as Portuguese had severely impacted age-old established global trade. Venice of Italy was a very important trading hub. Portuguese newfound route had impacted the trade in Venice. So they were unhappy and waiting for an occasion to hit Portuguese. Likewise, Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt were also unhappy as their lucrative trade route connecting Indian Ocean and Mediterranean was challenged by Portuguese. In 1508, Kingdom of Venice supported alliance of Mamluk Sultanate and Gujarat Sultanate to wage a war with Portuguese. This escalated into a full-scale conflict at the Battle of Chaul. Here, Almeida's son, Lorenzo Almeida, faced a formidable coalition of the Sultan of Gujarat and the Mamluk Sultanate. Despite a valiant effort, Lorenzo was killed in the battle, a loss that deeply impacted Francisco de Almeida. This event fueled Almeida's determination to assert Portuguese dominance and avenge his son's death. The following year, in 1509, Almeida launched a decisive naval campaign against the coalition forces at the Battle of Diu. The battle was a critical test of Portuguese naval power against the combined might of regional forces, including the Sultan of Gujarat, the Mamluks of Egypt, Zamorin of Calicut, and support of Kingdom of Venice. Utilizing advanced naval tactics and superior artillery, the Portuguese fleet, led by Almeida, achieved a resounding victory. The outcome of the Battle of Diu was monumental. It not only avenged the loss of Almeida's son but also marked the beginning of Portuguese supremacy in the Indian Ocean. This victory allowed the Portuguese to control key maritime trade routes, significantly disrupting the established Arab and Venetian dominance in the spice trade. The success at Diu demonstrated the effectiveness of modern naval warfare and set a new standard for maritime dominance. After Francisco de Almeida's tenure as viceroy, Afonso de Albuquerque was appointed as the second viceroy of Portuguese India in 1509, serving until his death in 1515. Albuquerque, often called the architect of the Portuguese Empire in the East, was a strategic military commander and administrator who played a crucial role in expanding Portuguese influence in the Indian Ocean. One of Albuquerque's most significant achievements was the capture of Goa in 1510. Recognizing Goa's strategic location, he launched an attack against the ruling Sultan of Bijapur and successfully took control of the city. Goa became the administrative capital of Portuguese India and a central hub for Portuguese trade and military operations in the region. Albuquerque fortified Goa and encouraged the settlement of Portuguese citizens, fostering a mixed Indo-Portuguese culture. In addition to Goa, Albuquerque also captured Malacca in 1511. This key trading port was crucial for controlling the spice trade routes between the East Indies and the Indian Ocean. The conquest of Malacca enabled the Portuguese to dominate the spice trade, which was previously controlled by Arab and Indian merchants. The Portuguese controlled this Malacca Strait for another 130 years till 1641. Albuquerque had earlier attacked and occupied island of Hormuz in 1507, but his control of the island was not secure due to various challenges. In 1515, Albuquerque established a secure control over Strait of Hormuz, thereby strengthening Portuguese control over the Persian Gulf. Hormuz was a vital point for controlling the entry to the Persian Gulf, allowing the Portuguese to regulate trade between India and the Middle East. This strategic location bolstered Portuguese influence and secured their dominance in the region's trade networks. They controlled Hormuz for more than a century, till 1622. Albuquerque implemented several policies to consolidate Portuguese power, including building fortifications, establishing administrative structures, and promoting Christian missionary activities. He encouraged intermarriage between Portuguese settlers and local women to strengthen ties and integrate the local population into the colonial framework. Through these actions, Albuquerque laid the foundations for a stable and enduring Portuguese presence in the Indian Ocean. His strategic conquests and administrative policies not only expanded the Portuguese Empire but also established a lasting cultural and economic influence in the region. Albuquerque's leadership marked a transformative period in the history of Portuguese India, setting the stage for subsequent developments in the 16th century. Following Afonso de Albuquerque's strategic conquests, the Portuguese established a network of fortified trading ports across the Indian Ocean, securing control over key trade routes. In 1530, Goa was officially declared the administrative capital of Portuguese India. This decision was made because of Goa's strategic location, deep natural harbor, and central position along the western coast of India, making it an ideal hub for overseeing Portuguese trade and military operations. The Portuguese monopolized the spice trade, requiring all goods to pass through their controlled ports like Goa, Cochin, Diu, Malacca, and Hormuz. This control allowed them to collect taxes and manage the flow of spices and other valuable commodities, significantly boosting their economic power in the region. Military conflicts were frequent as the Portuguese faced opposition from regional powers like the Sultanate of Gujarat and the Bijapur Sultanate, who were keen to protect their own trade interests. The Portuguese relied on their naval superiority to maintain dominance and secure their trade routes. Alliances with local rulers, such as the Kingdom of Cochin, also played a crucial role in bolstering Portuguese influence and securing strategic positions. The Portuguese presence in India during the 16th century was characterized by significant religious and cultural influences, heavily driven by their efforts to spread Christianity. One of the key elements of this period was the arrival and activities of the Jesuits. The Jesuits are a Catholic religious order. Formerly known as the Society of Jesus, they played a crucial role in the Portuguese missionary activities in India. Founded by Saint Ignatius of Loyola, the Jesuits were dedicated to education, missionary work, and the spread of Catholic doctrine. In 1542, Saint Francis Xavier, one of the most prominent Jesuits, arrived in Goa. His mission was to convert the local population to Christianity, a goal aligned with the Portuguese crown's broader colonial and religious objectives. Xavier traveled extensively, preaching and converting many along the Malabar coast and in other regions. The Jesuits established numerous churches and schools, which became centers for religious education and conversion. In 1560, the Portuguese established the Goa Inquisition, a notorious institution aimed at enforcing Catholic orthodoxy. The Inquisition was tasked with identifying and punishing heresy. Heresy means beliefs and practices that deviated from official Catholic teachings. This included the secret practice of Hinduism, Islam, or Judaism by converts who outwardly professed Christianity. The Goa Inquisition became infamous for its severe methods, including imprisonment, torture, and public executions. It targeted not only non-Christians but also those suspected of practicing non-Catholic Christian sects. The Inquisition operated in Goa for more than 2 centuries, finally being abolished in 1812. The Portuguese influence in India extended beyond religion into various cultural domains. They introduced European architectural styles evident in the numerous churches and public buildings constructed during this period, such as the Basilica of Bom Jesus in Goa. These structures often blended European and local elements, creating a unique Indo Portuguese style. Intermarriage between Portuguese settlers and local women led to the emergence of the Luso-Indian community, which became a significant cultural and social group. This community blended Portuguese and Indian customs, languages, and traditions, playing a vital role in trade and administration. Additionally, the Portuguese introduced new crops and culinary practices to India. They introduced chilies, potatoes, and tomatoes, which became integral to Indian cuisine. It is hard to believe as these are main food of India today. Without tomato or chilies or potato, we can hardly name any Indian cuisines. The cultural and religious legacies of this period are still evident today, particularly in Goa, where the Portuguese influence has left a lasting imprint on the local culture and history. In next video, we shall study decline and challenges faced by Portuguese in India.